Angie Jones. I'm the head of developer relations at Block. I'm going to present this talk with one of my colleagues, Ebony Lewis. You'll see her in a bit and she'll come and give a proper introduction of herself. But I have a question for you. Has anyone here ever ordered alcohol from a delivery app? Raymond was like, yes, alcohol, me. Fellow Louisiana. You have. Okay, someone tell me about that experience. What was it like? Mobile, you ordered it. What happened after that? All right. Nothing else special? Okay. All right. Okay. Wait, did you have to do a photograph? When you ordered it? Ah, okay. So the way that this works in person or online, there's two things that you're going to need in order to buy alcohol, right? You're going to need that ID and you're going to need money. Now, when buying this in person, this is pretty simple. I provide both of those items to whoever I'm checking out with. Everything is fine. But when you do this online, there poses a bit of a challenge because we figured out how to take money online, but not IDs really, right? And so I'm sure all of you have experienced something where you're needing to kind of take a picture of your ID and upload it. I have an Android, so that's very problematic for me, trying to take pictures of IDs and stuff like that, right? So what happens online is those normal checks are typically skipped. The person shows up at your door. Now, this poor delivery driver, they probably have like 3 different orders in their car. They really just want to drop your stuff off and leave. But now they have to remember to check your ID, make sure that it's valid, make sure that you're of legal drinking age. And should they forget to do this, then they could lose their jobs. The delivery company themselves could lose their license to sell liquor. The store that they purchased it from could also be in trouble, right? So let's say that the delivery driver does remember to check your age, but the person is a minor or doesn't have a valid ID. Well, now we've just wasted a lot of time and money, right? The delivery driver is going to need to take that purchase back to the store. They're going to need to refund the customer. The delivery app is going to need to get that money back from the vendor. So this is all like really messy, right? Fortunately, there is a way to handle this digitally. So I live in Louisiana, and we are one of the first states in the U.S. to have a mobile driver's license. Anyone else here have a mobile driver's license? Which states? Georgia. You're from Louisiana? Oh, what? We need to hang out. Okay, so this wallet is actually connected to the government system, so they're able to pull my real-time government data. And because they have access to this real-time official government data, they can prove that I am of legal age. So here's how this scenario changes in light of the mobile driver's license. So a customer uses the delivery app to order the alcohol. The delivery app is going to request a proof of age, and the customer shares a credential that's provided by their mobile driver's license app. Now, this credential is then verified by both the delivery app, but also the vendor who's selling the alcohol. They see that it was issued by, in my case, the Louisiana mobile driver's license. They trust this entity because they know that it's connected to the government data. And now with this proof, they can confidently deliver the alcohol. They don't have to burden the poor driver with such an important task. And if that digital proof was not valid, then the order simply wouldn't be processed. So we're not wasting time delivering the order and processing refunds. Okay, so how is this done exactly? Well, it's using JOTs, which are JSON Web Tokens. Anyone here familiar with JOTs? Okay, somebody tell me, what do you typically use this for? Auth, where? On the web, right? So now we're using this same technology to create a special type of JOT called a verifiable credential. And for those that are not familiar with JOTs, quick overview. So essentially, they're used for authentication when you're trying to talk to a website, right? So say, for example, you logged in, so you've authorized yourself. What the server could then do is issue a JOT, a token, basically, stating that they've authenticated you. And then every time you make another request from your client, the client can present this token back to the server so that they know, okay, yeah, I know who this person is. All right? So with verifiable credentials, we basically have 3 sections, same as JOTs: the header, the payload, and the signature. So the header, you're going to have things like the algorithm. You're going to have the type. For the payload, this is where the magic is. This is where you put the JSON. And since pretty much anything could be represented with JSON, this is a really nice technology for verifiable credentials because we can put claims and things in there. And then you have this cryptographic signature at the end here. All right, so this is what a verifiable credential, specifically that payload part, looks like. So we see here we have a bunch of information. We have like the type of credential it is. We have things like the issuer, who issued this credential, as well as this credential subject part. And we'll get more into like the nitty gritty of the credential. But notice here, it's not a lot of information, but we're saying a whole lot. This JSON right here represents a claim that I am over 21, and this is made by a specific issuer. All right? So I hope you were paying attention because it's pop quiz time. Ready? In the scenario that I described with the alcohol delivery, which actor does the customer play? How many people say the customer would be an issuer? How about a holder? Okay, and how about a verifier? All right, very good, the holder. So the holder is the person that the credential is issued to. It's who the claims are about. So you're right, that would be the customer in this case. What about the delivery app? How many say the delivery app is the issuer? Holder? Verifier? Oh, y'all are on it. Okay. So the delivery app is the verifier. They are the ones that need to request some sort of credential and verify that it meets whatever requirements that they've specified. Great job. Okay. How about the mobile driver's license app? Is this the issuer? Okay. The holder? The verifier? Oh, y'all are on it. Okay, very good. The license app would be the issuer. So they're the ones that's connected to the source of truth and therefore can make a specific claim about me. All right? And then last one, which actor does the vendor play? Issuer? The vendor is the alcohol seller. Holder? Verifier. Excellent. So the vendor is also another verifier. So we had 2 verifiers in this case, right? The delivery app, whoever is delivering me alcohol needs to verify that I'm of age, and whoever is selling me alcohol needs to verify that I'm of age. All right? Great job. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Ebony, who's going to show you the code behind all of this and how it works.
Thank you. Thanks, Carly. Hi, everybody. So I'm Ebony Lewis, as Angie said in the beginning, developer advocate at Block. And unfortunately, I don't live in Louisiana or Georgia. I'm in Massachusetts, and we don't have a mobile driver's license app. But it's a shame because I can think of so many times when I've gone out with my friends. You know, you get cute, you're going to the club, you're in the line, and you get there, and you or your friend is like, okay, I don't have my ID. So y'all look at each other like, can we just match each other's ID? Can we pass it back or something? Which most times doesn't work. So you go over to the bouncer, you try to look really cute and innocent, and you're like, good evening, will you take a picture of it? And like 6 times out of 10, it works. The other times you're like strutting away in your heels, everyone's looking at you like these losers. They can't even get into the club. So I wish I had one. So in this scenario, we're going to pretend that I have a mobile driver's license. And the thing about the mobile driver's license app, like Angie already mentioned, it has access to all your data, and it's all from the government. And the good thing about verifiable credentials, they're privacy-preserving technology. So in the scenario of I'm at home with my boo, I want to order some liquor, I would have to show the delivery person my ID. So they're going to get all the info on me. So they'll know my height, my eye color, my address. Well, they already know my address. But they'll want a drop of blood. Like, they're going to want everything from me. And the good thing about the mobile app, it's not going to share any of that. And it's not even going to share my date of birth. It's just going to share that I'm over 21. It's just going to attest to that. So in this code, we're going to be using the Web5 open source SDK, and we're going to create a verifiable credential that's going to resemble what a mobile app credential would create for me. So in this one, we're going to be really creative, and we're going to make our type age over 21 credential. And the thing about type, you could set this to anything, but we do want some kind of standardization so that when the verifier comes to verify this credential, they know what are they even looking for. So we're going to do age over 21. And the credential is also going to hold my decentralized identifiers. So it's going to hold both of them. It's going to hold the issuer's decentralized identifier, and that's going to be, again, the mobile driver's license app that's issuing this credential. And then the subject, in this case, is going to be me, the holder. It's issuing this credential that has claims about me. And then in the data portion, again, they're not going to share my date of birth because verifiable credentials are privacy-preserving technology. All they have to say is, she's over 21, and the value of that is true. And it's like, okay, I believe you. She's legal. We can give her some liquor. And once they create this credential, now they need to actually sign the credential. And the good thing about signing the credential is they're going to cryptographically sign it, and that's going to have their private keys. And that's going to help the verifier know that this credential is authentic, it hasn't been tampered with, and it actually belongs to the holder, so me in this case. So once it's signed, as Angie told you earlier and showed you, it's going to be a JSON web token, and that can be stored in this mobile app, it can be stored on my phone, I could keep it wherever I want. So for this part, when an entity actually requests someone present a verifiable credential, they're going to have to provide this kind of definition. And this definition is going to list, okay, these are the claims I'm looking for. So I want a verifiable credential from you, but I need it to match these claims so that the verifier knows what they're verifying. So in this one, what they're looking for, as we said before, is I'm looking for a claim that says over 21 and the value needs to be true. So if you give me a credential that says that, I'm happy. And the cool thing about presentation definitions is you can actually have multiple verifiable credentials that satisfy a presentation definition. But for this one, with what we already showed, we're only going to need one. Okay, so now your wallet, which is the issuer, as we spoke about earlier, they're going to programmatically select the credentials that satisfy the definition that was given by the verifier. So again, unlike the physical ID where you need to give your firstborn, you need to give your address, your eye color, all this stuff, you don't need to do any of that. It's going to then select credentials that match the presentation definition. So again, the over 21 claim, that's all it's looking for. And the wallet is going to provide the Boolean value again, saying she's legal, give her liquor, and they don't need to know your date of birth or anything else. We love that. So now, when the delivery person and the vendor companies, they receive this verifiable credential in the form of the JSON web token, now they need to verify it. So this verify method, what they're actually checking for is, okay, has it been tampered? Is it expired? Do these IDs, like the decentralized identifiers that are in the verifiable credential, actually match this holder? Or are they trying to scam me type of thing? So basically, you can't scam the system in this sense. So once the VC is valid, this is when they're going to actually check the claims and make sure, okay, did they actually give me what I asked? We're going to check this against our presentation definition. Does it match up with what I wanted? And if it does, it's again, okay, start drinking, live your best life. So now I'm going to let Angie come back over, and she's going to give you guys other examples of verifiable credentials. But I feel like you guys could probably think of other scenarios in your life where this might have been beneficial or useful for you. So just keep that in mind. Back to you, girl.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So yes, as Ebony said, we can use this technology for more than just buying booze, okay? They can be used for just about anything. Colleges, universities, other training programs have begun actually issuing verifiable credentials as a digital form of a degree. For example, MIT provides both the physical and the digital forms of a diploma to its graduates. So I want you to think about how useful this is when you need to undergo something like a background check. So as opposed to like calling the university to verify that a candidate that you're trying to hire did in fact graduate with the degree that they're claiming to, anyone who needs to verify this information can simply request that in that definition that Ebony talked about. And then the graduate just needs to provide that JSON web token, that verifiable credential that's been issued by MIT. How do we know that it's been issued by MIT? That decentralized identifier that we talked about, right? And so we'll know what's MIT's ID. Yep, this matches because JSON web tokens they're tamper evident. So if you try to like tamper with them, it's evident. Because of that, we know that this is actually valid and it came from MIT, right? And this can all be done programmatically. So this greatly speeds up like verification processes. You can also imagine these credentials being issued upon like successful completion of a certification, for example. I know this is a JavaScript conference, but I'm a Java girl, right? And I am certified in Java. It would be really cool to have a verifiable credential that states that, and then I can prove that anytime I need to. I can even put it on something like my LinkedIn and have like hiring managers that search for people that have a valid credential with this type. Speaking of hiring managers, so we're starting to see verifiable credentials issued to prove employment history as well. So these can be issued by the employers themselves or even other credible sources like Workday or maybe an employment verification agency. And that's the thing. Anyone can issue a credential, right? So Ebony just showed you the code to do so. You could write that right now. I know you can. I believe in you. Using that Web5 open source SDK, right? But the question is, are you a credible source to make such a claim, right? So I can issue, what's your name, friend? Yes, Ray? So I can issue Ray a credential right now saying that, what do you want me to say, Ray? Something outrageous. Okay, what is it? Just jujitsu? I don't know how to say that word. But I know what you're talking about. So let's say that Ray is karate, black belt karate. Okay, so I, Angie Jones, am issuing a credential that says that he's a black belt in karate, and he takes this like wherever he wants to compete with people and stuff like that, right? So yes, you can accept this credential, but who am I, Angie Jones, who knows nothing about karate, to make such a claim about him? So whoever's verifying these credentials must trust the source of the credential. Okay, does that make sense? All right. They can even specify it in that presentation definition. So when we're saying what types of claims are we looking for, you can even list, these are the IDs that I'm willing to accept credentials from. All right. So back to this case, like, let's say that if your company is using a certain background check agency all the time, and they've already done a background check on, what's your name? Karen? So Karen has applied for a job, and I'd like to hire her. And so I can reach out to the background agency check, but that's going to take a couple of weeks for those checks to go through, right? In fact, when I switched from my last job to this one, I timed it just perfectly because, y'all, I don't like to be without my checks coming in. So I was ending this job. I was going to, on a Friday, I was going to start the next job on a Monday, but my background check got delayed, and so I was a week without work. I mean, I could use the vacation, but still, I wanted my money, right? And so for Karen, let's say I want to hire her, I don't have to wait those weeks. If this background agency has already done a check on her in the past, then they can just provide her with a verifiable credential signed by them, and then she can give that credential to me when I request it. So this is, saves time. Everyone wins here. In fact, I want you to imagine a scenario where you can apply for a job with proof of employment history, proof of academic achievements, all in the form of verifiable credentials. So this is like basically a human form of if I were to write a presentation definition defining what claims I'm looking for. So I can say things like, okay, I need proof of employment histories, and that might be a specific type I'm looking for. A degree in a field that's either like engineering or computer science or security. With these claims, you can do pattern matching. So I can set this up to accept any of these. And I can also say, or if they don't have the degree, that's okay as long as they have this certified hacker, ethical hacker certification, right? And so you can specify these programmatically. We're even starting to see countries like Aruba use verifiable credentials to allow travelers to enter the country without a physical passport. So as far as I know, they're the first country that's doing this, and they started piloting the program last year. This year, they loved it so much, they rolled it out officially this year. I've been dying to get over there to kind of try it out. But the credential selectively discloses like the required information from their embarkation card. And then the immigration authorities are able to verify this information much quicker than that old process. And so this it's also more secure for them, right? So they're not like IDing passports from all over the globe and trying to see if like, this is the right person and all of that. And then also in the US, TSA has begun accepting mobile driver's license at our airports. So this isn't as advanced as the Aruba case study. In fact, you can only use your mobile driver's license in the state that it was issued right now. But at least we're starting to see some progress here. Credentials have also made their way to the medical sector as well. So in addition to my driver's license, my mobile app contains things like my COVID vaccination cards. For those who use Medicaid, that insurance card is in that wallet as well. So all of this like comes in really handy, especially like my COVID vaccination card. So during the 2020 pandemic, when businesses started opening back up, everybody was requiring that vaccination card, right? And so I was able to present that from my phone, which was nice. Also, one of my colleagues, Roselle Scarlett, she interviewed a pharmacist who talked about how they trade medicinal drugs as part of their supply chain management, right? To ensure like pharmacists all across the globe, they are properly stocked. So pharmacists are using verifiable credentials to ensure, one, the medicine that they are trading is legit, but two, that the person they're trading with is actually a licensed pharmacist, right? Otherwise, you're just selling drugs on the street. And we're also starting to see credentials in financial services. So many companies are required by law to verify the identity of new customers in an effort to prevent, illegal activities like money laundering or fraud. And this is known as KYC, or Know Your Customer. So we're starting to see things like known customer credentials, which would allow people to present this credential saying to a business like, you already know who I am, kind of like we do with the auth dots, right? So I hope by now you all are wondering, how do I keep my credentials safe, right? Because I have your medical stuff in here, your physical stuff, your employment history, your financial data. So let's say that a bad actor did get a hold of my credential, which again is simply a jot. This is just a string of text. Anybody can get a hold of this. They cannot present that credential as their own, because every credential, again, is issued to what? A specific ID, that decentralized identifier, remember? And Ebony talked about how that decentralized identifier has both a public and private key pair, right? So you sign this with your private key, but then you present to them the jot, which will hold like your public key. So unless you can prove that you actually hold that private key, you cannot prove that you are the subject or the holder of this credential. And that private key is typically locked away in something like a key management service. And even with this, wallets that are holding verifiable credentials need to equip like advanced authorization methods. For example, I use biometrics to log into my LA wallet, which holds my credentials, just like I use biometric to use my credit cards, which are in my Google wallet, for example. In fact, Apple and Google wallets are able to hold mobile driver's licenses now as well. So there's, I think, 13 states right now. It keeps increasing. So about 13 or 14 right now that have mobile driver's license. Apple supports 7 of the states, so you can actually put your mobile driver's license in your Apple wallet, and Google supports 5 of the states. Both of these wallets are designed with multiple layers of security. All right. And then as far as challenges with this technology, I think that the biggest one we face right now is probably standardization, as well as interoperability. And those kind of go hand in hand. So again, these are meant to be verified programmatically, which means we all need to agree on the language we're going to use. What are the terms we're going to use? For example, let's say that my university issues a credential. What should the type be? I want everybody in their head to think of what you would put there for the type. I guarantee all of you do not have the same thought in your head, right? So someone might make this education credential. Someone may call it academic credential, right? Some might just say MIT degree or something, right? So I've already broken the verification process from, like, say, an employer who wanted to verify that I have some sort of credential that's academic related, because they don't know what to look for exactly. So the only way, again, that credential can meet the specified requirements is by matching the exact wording, or at least some sort of pattern matching here, right? And this goes for the claims as well, not just the type. So there are some efforts to standardize the verbiage that's being used. So verifiable credentials are actually a W3C standard. So there's a standardization body comprised of individuals from multiple companies who are working on this together. So we just need to have companies respect and adopt and adhere to those standards, okay? So that's verifiable credentials in a nutshell. I'm really excited to see more and more use cases for verifiable credentials where it'll be easier to transact and verify ourselves online. In fact, I wrote a blog post a couple of weeks ago about a new rule that was introduced by the FTC that prohibits businesses from posting fake reviews online for their products. I think everybody's like nodding, like, yes, we need that. That would be great, right? However, the first thing I thought of is how will the FTC enforce this? Like, how do you know which ones are fake and which ones are not? And so in that blog post, my proposal was for businesses to embed like verifiable credentials on the receipts as maybe a QR code, right? And then when I give you your receipt, if you would like to leave a review, you just kind of scan that code and you can represent that token back to the vendor. And that way they know, yes, this is the person that in fact made the purchase or whatever. Okay. But yeah, I look forward to the days when we can kind of look back and laugh at the times where we had to take a picture of our ID and upload it, or do a liveness check on Zoom, or, scan our passport to apply for a visa, right? So if you want to learn more about verifiable credentials, or maybe even issue some yourself with the open source Web 5 SDK, you can check out developer.tbd.website. And with that, are there any questions that we can answer for you? Yes.
So it sounds like if we're taking like an educational credential, for example, pattern matching, I'm not too familiar with exactly how that works, but is there anything that would prevent somebody from creating a fake university and setting up a credential system and then using that on their own resume? Or like, I guess that's where maybe having a central accredited university system or something like that might come in handy. So I'm just kind of curious, like, it sounds like you need multiple levels for that to actually work correctly.
Yeah, so good point, right? So let's say that I accept like these university credentials, but I want it to be from an accredited university. So there could be, I'm sure there's, I hope there is, but some like API or something that I can call and say, like, give me a list of all of the accredited universities in whatever region or whatever. right? Assuming that they also have like a decentralized identifier associated with those universities that can then even programmatically do this cross-check to make sure whoever issued this credential is actually on that accredited university list. Yes.
You think it's likely for all 50 states to adopt the mobile driver's license soon? Like, is that where the trend's headed?
Yeah, I do think so. If Louisiana did it, child.
I don't see why not.
This is like our first thing leading the charge. But I do. And what makes me think that is there's a lot of push for them from governments, from Google and Apple themselves. You know what I mean? Now, there is a chicken and egg problem right now because some states are wondering like, okay, it'll take a lot for me to implement this technology. With that, like, are people even going to adopt it? Because I don't want to go through all the trouble if people are not going to use it, right? But then even businesses are like, well, we're not going to accept it until a percentage of the population has started using it. So you have this issue here. And it was very recently, like maybe 2024, when Google and Apple kind of got involved. And now they're starting to partner with these states. For example, California just released their mobile driver's license this year. And they've been doing like a lot of work to increase adoption. So one, partnering with these wallets, but also they did a hackathon. Our company actually participated in the hackathon where they wanted to see like interesting use cases from businesses. So the company we work for is Block, which you probably know as Square, make Cash App, all of that stuff. So anyway, so with our Square terminals, like we want sellers, whoever's like selling things like your mom and pop shops or whatever, to be able to accept these mobile driver's license if someone needs to present them, right? And so enabling that sort of technology. So that's what we did with that hackathon. But yeah, I do expect to see the states and then hopefully even some federal things so that they're interoperable between states, right? Because right now everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. There are standards and specs that people are adhering to, but to make this like truly interoperable, we all need to be kind of speaking the same languages.
Great.
Any other questions?
Those are good questions. Love that.
All right. So thank you so much. If you think of anything, we'll be around for a bit, or if you want to come out, you don't want to ask on the mic, feel free to come over. Thanks so much.
Thank you.